How high can Avalanche's AVAX token go in 2025? In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my AVAX price prediction for 2025, specifically taking a look at where the price action is today, where I think it's kind of consolidating some opportunities for accumulation, and a part of the bigger macro picture as to how high I think we could be going in that next bullish market, which is just around the corner, in my humble opinion. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, and let's take a look at what's going on with Avalanche's AVAX. So here we have AVAX paired up with USDT. We're on the 1-day Binance chart here. Now, as you can see, we are still in, at the point of recording, some bearish times for Avalanche's AVAX, right? We have seen resistance on this 200 EMA a fair few times, and that is exactly where we are right now. But there is a lot of positivity around our AVAX, right? We have seen trading volume increasing. We've seen a lot of adoption of the blockchain network. And while we can see here that we are coming up into the range that we've been talking about for resistance. Now, why is all of this important for 2025? Well, in order for us to be able to predict out where we think the price action could go in 2025, we first of all have to make sure that we are not looking for new bear market low points, right? Because if the lower that we go in a bear market, essentially it means the lower the price target will be in 2025. Okay, so we want to be aware that the importance of the price action in late 2024 versus, where it was maybe in 2022 and 2023, and whether or not the bottom is in. And if the bottom is in, then we can be very predictive. If the bottom is not in, we can kind of be roughly predictive and a little bit of speculation as to kind of where we think the price action is going. So it's important to note that we are getting rejected at the point of recording on the 200 EMA, because that means that we are likely to see a bit of a cooling off in the market. Now, our targeted ranges in this next move to the upside are between that $28 and $38, and the potential breakout situation sitting a little bit higher at $33 to $37. So if we see that, then of course that is going to change things a little bit, but for the most part, we are right where we need to be. Okay, so for AVAX's price action at the moment, we can see the idea of this kind of being a great kind of move out towards those higher ranges, $33 to the $37 range, as you can kind of see. But coming in on this 200 EMA resistance level seems to be where we currently sit. Minimum expectations were met on this move to the upside at $28, and therefore we are looking for a bit of a cooling off. So where is the accumulation? Well, the accumulation sits down here. Okay, we've been in this range a little bit, and there's still an opportunity for better dollar cost averaging opportunities in the coming weeks, okay, at the point of this video going live. Now, of course, you may be watching this, a bit further down the line, but of course, depending on how low things have gone, this is actually okay. So accumulation really comes in at around 1095 to 2269. Now, at the point of recording, that might sound crazy. We've had a good run to the upside. $27 is the current price. And of course, we've seen a bit of a move here in and around, 65%. And people think, okay, we can't possibly go down lower than where we were in August. I actually think we can move down lower than where we were in August. Okay, and that is because there is actually a bigger bearish pattern in play. And therefore, that is going to be where we're going to anchor in our predictions on this next 2025 bullish run. Okay, I'm going to use the 200 EMA as our resistance point. And then I'm going to share where I think we can go. So I'm looking for us to move down more towards this kind of range of $12 to $15. I'm just going to be using round numbers to keep it simple. Okay, so this is where I think we're heading. Okay, it means that we're going to see a pretty significant drop. We talk about 47 to 55. There could be many reasons for that. Fundamental reasons, market scares, whatever it's going to be. I don't know. But essentially, that's kind of where I look at the market through that lens, where we can see the potential for a bit of a cooling off in the market for our Avalanche's AVAX. Okay, so in that case, it means that that's where I'm going to place this wave 2. Okay, and the wave 2 is a very important point that we need to kind of talk about. So taking a look at our structure here for Avalanche's AVAX, we have, in my opinion, a pretty solid bottom down here in these lows of 2023. Now I'm going to go ahead and make sure that our fibs are right on that low level just here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this Fibonacci level right into this low down here. Okay, and it's very important that we do that, and that's going to be one of our tools that we use, okay, for this next structure. I'm going to go ahead and actually delete off some of these historical points, and I'm going to leave that one on here just for a second as we kind of walk through these next structures. Okay, so what we're talking about on a bigger macro scale is we have this run from the kind of lows of 2020 up to the highs of 2021. We have a cooling off bear market, and we have a very good reversal in the market here, and a bit of a cooling off into a typical kind of wave two. It's actually held up very, very well so far in this little move to the downside. And this move to the downside, and the reason that I say it's been held up very, very well, is we've seen it drop down by 73%, right? Other projects, other altcoins have actually dropped down a lot lower than that. I still see this move more towards that kind of 77 to 88, but then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we have bottomed out, but I don't think that's the case. We're looking for those breakouts. If we have them, great. But I'm going to use this as our conservative low points for 2025. Okay, and the reason for that is really important. So anyone who kind of tracks Elliott wave theory knows and understands it is psychology based. Okay, so it basically uses the psychology of people's behaviors within the price action. So for anyone who's not familiar, they can check out the course that I put together on Elliott wave theory over at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗪.com, and there's a link in the description down below with a 50% off discount code. You can use that to basically start learning Elliott wave theory. Now, it is a complex subject. It does require a lot of patience. It's quite a long course. It goes through all the different patterns, all the different structures, quizzes you on each particular section, and also I go through a section on how to implement Elliott wave theory, how I approach that. So it's a in-depth course. It's not going to be something you can just do in a day. I think it's something that you can do over at least a month to kind of slowly learn and implement Elliott wave theory. Go ahead and check it out if you're interested. Now, for this, we can see some very interesting things. If we do come down to that low $12.98 range, then we are going to be looking and seeking a minimum move, in my opinion, for 2025. Sitting right in here, briefly going up into a new all-time high between 98.57 and 159.05. That would be kind of my minimum expectations on Avalanche's AVAX token based on the current behaviors of what we see inside the charts. That would basically be an ABC structure, A, B, and C. Now, because we went down as low as 12.98, if we don't drop down as low, that price target increases. Okay, but I'm using the conservative numbers. Now, if we get a rally above $3.45, sat up here, okay, 3.45, that is going to basically be a 1.618 breakout area where we go impulsive. I'm going to go ahead and just delete that fib off the chart there. So you can see this 1.618 target just over here. This essentially is going to be where we see this ABC structure actually turn into an impulsive breakout. That would look more like this: a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, 4, and then 5. And this is the one that I'm monitoring and hoping for, okay? Which is why I say this yellow box area down here is a typical wave 2 retracement zone. And that's why I think we're going to be deeper in that range as we kind of see this moves to the upside. Now, the 618 here happens to fall in line with a 702 Fibonacci retracement, which actually is an area that resonates incredibly well with Bitcoin. It's not technically a Fibonacci number that you would actually have on your charts typically. This is one that I manually added, and I added it because Bitcoin loves the 702. It kind of gets rejected or finds support on a 702 Fibonacci retracement, which is bonkers in itself because it's not really documented anywhere, but Bitcoin does. So it's worth keeping it in mind. And it just so happens to be that that area is also the 1.618 on Avalanche. So that's an interesting point. The 0.618 coming in at the $208 and the 786 there coming in at the $494. So that's very interesting because where we see this potential 5-wave breakout happens to fall right inside what you would normally typically find as a bit of a pocket of resistance when it comes to the Fibonacci levels, and that would be right inside here between 208 and 498. Now, of course, the bulls and the kind of mega moon boy kind of situations would potentially be looking for a rally towards the one of $1,400 to $5,000. I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be a kind of macro play that would have happened multi-year, essentially talking about all of this being some kind of big 3-wave pattern like so. Obviously, I think $1,400 to $5,000 is possible in a longer term. I don't think it's going to be a 2025 situation. I think personally, 2025, we want to aim for a couple of things. I think the $200 level is a very interesting point. I do think, that's going to be a new all-time high, which obviously the all-time high was $145, which could be a double top situation that we have. We might find resistance around there, but I think 200 is a pretty reasonable level. Maybe we can push up towards 300, but we'll have to kind of monitor that situation. Do I think we're going to go impulsive? I think there's a chance, but I don't want to kind of say categorically that there's a high probability of that, not until we start seeing the structures appear in 2025 and how they might monitor and how we might monitor those. But for the most part, it looks like a pretty good time for AVAX. Now, how many X's are we talking? Well, from our kind of 2023 lows, if we were to go to all-time high, we're talking about 15X. If we were to go to the more conservative numbers, we're talking about a 10X. Okay, and if we were to go to $200 from our 2023 lows, we're talking about 22X. Onto the higher range at around 494, it's about 54X. Now, from the current prices, if we take today's price and people were just to start building their positions, conservatively, we're talking about 263%, up to about 470%. If we go to the kind of $200 level, we're talking about 654%, so a 6x. Up towards that kind of $500 level, it's a 16x. So if we were to start dollar cost averaging today, probably not the best positions. If we were to see this 1298 low, then we can be talking 6 to 11x on the conservative, and kind of 15x to about 36x on the kind of more kind of, I guess I want to say realistic or kind of medium kind of risk levels between $200 and $500. So there's definitely some nice X's to be had when it comes to AVAX in terms of where the price action is heading, in my opinion. But it's not necessarily going to be like meme coin level 100x returns, but very few projects are ever going to get you 100x, in my opinion. Instead, you want to be thinking about what projects are going to get you kind of 10 to 20 X's, in my humble opinion. And I think AVAX does fit that criteria. What do you think? Let me know what your price predictions are in 2025 for AVAX. Drop them in the comments down below or join us in our free Discord server. We would love to hear from you guys. If you have found today's video useful and informative, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe and check out this video right here. It's not one you're going to want to miss.